Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the city of Bettendorf. Tonight, we have a special meeting based upon our proposed 25-26 property tax levy and budget. So, welcome all that are here. Michelle, would you please call the roll?
Adamson.
Here.
Jager.
Here.
Brown. Here. Nauman.
Here.
Texer.
Here.
Baden.
Here.
Pazinski.
All right, thank you all for being here. We welcome Jason Shadd, our Director of Finance, to walk us through the public hearing. Would you like to say anything before we open that public hearing?
I do have a very brief presentation. I'll do my best to keep it brief. So
You're fine, I figured as much.
move
If you
on
keep
to
me
the-
past 7 o'clock, we'll talk.
Okay. I do want to move on to the public hearing portion as soon as possible. This is now, I believe, just the second year that we've held this additional public hearing. It was a change in state law that requires an additional public hearing be held separate from any other meeting, so that's why we got off to an early start tonight. This will be separate from the regular council meeting that starts at 7, and as a reminder, requires no action of council. This is simply a public hearing on the budget, and specifically a public hearing on the proposed tax levy rate, which remains the same in FY 25-26 as it is in the current year at $13.11. That will fund, or at least partly fund, the full budget of $113 million for FY 26. It funds all current service levels across all departments despite rising costs and no increase in the levy rate. We're upholding that commitment that we made last year to fund and fully fund the 6 firefighters that were hired and currently paid for by a federal SAFER grant. That grant is up in about 2 years. We continue to remain aggressive on infrastructure. We continue to be very lean on the operating side. I'll show a chart here that proves that. But as I said, tonight's public hearing is really around the tax levy rate, and that will not change as proposed. A couple of the individual levy rates within the total move up and down in response to changes in tax legislation and changes in our own expenditure profile. But at the end of the day, our levy rate will remain at $13.11 per $1,000 of taxable value. And taxable value is a very different thing than assessed value. We get a notice in the mail usually every spring that says what our homes have been assessed for, but I would remind residents that that is not what they are taxed on. And that, in fact, in FY 26, the current year, we're taxed on about 46% of that assessed value. For FY 26, the year that starts July 1, we'll be taxed on just about 47% of that value. So there are really 3 determining factors of a homeowner's tax bill. First is the assessed value. That is then affected by the rollback. So the rollback is that percentage rate that we apply to determine taxable value. And then the third is finally the city's levy rate. In this particular year, this was a non-assessment year, so our average home of $321,952 really didn't change for the most part. Most folks would not have seen an assessment change. So 0 impact on the tax bill from that. The rollback did move up ever so slightly from 46 to 47%. That adds $46 to this mean homes tax bill. And then the city's levy rate remains unchanged, so that had no effect. So the full increase on an average home in Bettendorf for the FY 26 year upcoming at $13.11 will be just about $46, or up 2.4% or less. And as we look across a number of places, we've sampled many residences, that 2.4% increase holds true. I would encourage folks to visit the city's website and look up this My Address information. You can type in your address here, and you'll see a calculation of your city taxes for your specific address for both the current year and the budget year. Just a quick reminder, it is only city taxes. We are only about, or I should say, city taxes make up about 39% of the total tax bill. So what the dollars that you see provided in this calculator are only those taxed by the city and taxed within that $13.11 levy rate. But you'll also be taxed by Scott County, you'll be taxed by the school district that you live in, and then there's a couple of other taxing entities that we pay through property taxes. So about 39% of your bill comes to the city. And again, you can look that up for your specific residence here on the city's website. I will say, I mentioned at the top, we run a pretty lean operating organization. If you look at our total fees for our utilities and the taxes that we levy for operating costs, so we're not including the debt levy taxes here, we are third lowest in the state among those cities that have populations of 23,000 or more. So it's something that we're really proud of and like to hang our hat on. We believe that Bettendorf provides some top-notch city services, and we do it as affordably as most anybody in the state. This budget process officially started about 2 months ago in early February, but started long before that, back in October. My final slide here tonight just shows where we are in the process. This is the first of 2 public hearings. A second and final public hearing will be held in 2 weeks on April 15th, and staff will recommend the adoption of the budget after that public hearing. And then the budget will begin July 1 and end next June 30. So that is my presentation tonight. Like I said, we wanted to keep this presentation brief so we could move into the public hearing portion of the meeting.
Do we have any questions for Jason from council? Been through this, as the calendar indicates, quite a lot. Thank you for your patience and all of your hard work. And Jason, thank you for the presentation. Department heads and your staff, thank you for the great work that you've done. Michelle, did we publish notice of this public hearing?
Yes, we did, Your Honor, and I do have affidavit of publication.
Did we receive any written correspondence with regard to the same?
No, we did not.
Let's open the public hearing with regard to the tax levy remaining exactly the same for 25-26. Anybody here wish to be heard on this item? If so, please approach the podium in the back, state your name and your address. We'd like to hear from you. All right, let's close the public hearing. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn our special property tax levy rate public hearing.
So moved.
We stand adjourned. Good work, people. You have